But today's class is called Confusion of Faces. I wanted to touch on the confusion of faces. There is issues with us within every place where we're scattered to regarding the confusion of faces, and this is why we have to go out and speak amongst the Gentiles, because amongst the Gentiles we were scattered amongst them. And the word of the Most High is going to fall upon those who have the spirit to receive this truth, because their spirit testifies with our spirit when they hear the word of the Most High, that they are the children of the dispersed, that they are the children of the captivity. We have an exiled government. We have an exiled kingdom until Yahawah sends the Son, Yahawashi, back on earth. So we give the Most High praise for all these different things that He's bestowed upon us, which is the Spirit of Christ, the Spirit of HaMashaYACH, which is love, which is keeping of His laws, statutes, and commandments, and knowing that we have a high priest in the heavens who hears our prayers and gives it to the Father. But we know because of us coming into this truth, there's some things that we have to understand, that when you don't know the law, statutes, and commandments and you pray to the Most High, it's considered an abomination. I don't know if people even know that. Your prayers are an abomination. He may let the first 2 or 3 go by. You repent and so forth, and you talking. But it's a gradual thing to wake up to the truth. Sometimes it's an instant thing, but most of the time it's a gradual thing, And so by it being gradual, the Most High is patient with us to learn His ways, which are His law, statutes, and commandments. So this is the key for learning who we are and who the Most High is, what the Most High is all about. He's a very patient power, because we have a lot of things to learn about ourselves, a lot of things. You cannot put this in a nutshell so you can learn everything in one time. This is not like the Matrix. You take one pill and boom, you wake up. No, the Most High does things on His time, and it takes time sometimes to wake up some people. Last night I sent you brothers and sisters something. Let me go back to my pictures. Okay, yeah, it's the first insert. I'll send it out again if you don't have it. You have it? Okay. This is something that's really critical. This is from an 11th century or 12th century book, and notice what it says. It says, avoid sudden changes. Habit and regularity are great principles for keeping well and recovering from illnesses. So it's a consistent thing. You have to stabilize your body and consistently work at getting something out of you if you have an illness. Like a cold takes a while to heal, doesn't heal instantly. It says, it is not proper to change one's habits and health at once, neither in food, in drinks, nor in intercourse, bath, or exercise. So he's saying all these things because everything requires, with the hospitals, they call it a treatment plan, right? Oh, we got to get you started on treatment. It's the same thing with sudden change. You can't just suddenly change something. It's a slow process. Even working out, like you said, bath, and even exercise. It says you should stick to your habits. These are not evil habits. These are good habits. And even if your habit is in contradiction to medical law, you must not separate from it, but adjust to the law gradually and for a prolonged time, so that the change would not be felt. And a man must never change his habit all of a sudden. A lot of people die because they change all of a sudden and their body can't make that change. You get sick or you have certain issues and can't wonder why these things are happening. If he does, he is bound to get sick. But the acutely ill must not deviate from their habits. Somebody who's really, really sick got to really take it easy when changing, right? During the course of their disease. With that being said, it's the same thing when it comes to the laws. The Most High knows that it's going to take time for a lot of us to learn these laws. Over and over again, He wants us to study to show ourselves approved, right? He says to rehearse the laws daily so that the man of the Most High may be given success. It's a thing that most Christians don't understand what we're into. They don't understand. Most people who are not in the truth don't understand what we're doing. We're totally studying on a day-to-day notion, right? We're studying history. We're studying how to take care of our bodies, the dietary law. We're transforming our minds. And it's a slow thing that we're doing, but to the average person, here you trying to tell them that we Israelites, they do not see the whole picture of what you're into. Because you have chiseled so much out of your life that they don't realize all the work that you have done. They can see it from afar. They can see that you've changed, but they don't know how you got there. So it's a slow process, and that's why he says avoid sudden changes. All right? Now, this is written by a gentleman named Maimonides. He was a physician in the 11th century, and he's also a biblical scholar, Maimonides. So, this is his observations, and this is from him having various patients and various things. He had written this down, and it probably was handed down the line to him from his elders. So we have it, and I'm repeating it to you. Avoid sudden changes. All right, so now let's get into the scriptures. Let's go to Colossians chapter 3, verse 7. So just, when you think about that, think about our people who are in different lands, different countries, learning or have learned all their life different customs, how hard it is to change over to the truth. It's a hard thing for some people. It's a hard pill to swallow to change over to the truth because it requires a lot of change, right? Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Hashem HAMASHAYACH, Yahawashi, giving thanks to the Heavenly Father, Yahawah, and the Abba by him. All things are done through HAMASHAYACH, Yahawashi, to the Father of Abraham, Father of Isaac, and the Father of Jacob, who is worthy to be praised, through Yahawashi, who came and gave us remission of sins. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Romans 15:4. Romans 15:4. And it reads, in Romans chapter 15, verse 4, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. You see that? So what are the scriptures? The scriptures is 39 books. 39 books of the Old Covenant. Then you have the Apocrypha, which is 14 books, right? Then you have the Gospels, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and Acts. That's the Gospels. The rest are letters. The book of Revelation is a book, okay? The book of Jude, the book of Timothy, the book of James. Those are books. But there's also letters that Paul wrote, okay? These are Gospels, which are books, and these are letters. So keep that in mind. This is something that we have. Everything that we have was written for what? Our learning. So we can make a gradual change by learning this stuff. All right. Now, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 63. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 63. And it reads, and it shall come to pass that as the Most High rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Most High will rejoice over you to destroy you. So the Most High will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And you shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. So he was done with us at this point. Deuteronomy 28:64. And the Most High shall scatter you among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So this particular verse tells you who we are. Those of us who were scattered abroad are the Israelites. Okay? Scattered abroad without a destination. We're the Israelites. Scattered abroad in captivity. We're the Israelites. Deuteronomy 28, verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease. No matter how you look for your peace, something's always going to come and interrupt your peace. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease. Neither shall thy sole of the foot have rest. But the Most High shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And this is what our people got today. All these things. Trembling of heart, failing of eyes, sorrow of mind. Our people are mentally unstable. Deuteronomy 28, verse 66. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. So there's no true assurance of thy life where we are scattered to, because we continuously serve our captors. We keep being the last people on the caste system. Right? We can never get above everybody else. Those who have accomplished the so-called freedom by business and enterprise in the various lands have basically lost themselves. They lost their minds. They don't know who they are. So they're achieving all these things, trying to be like so-called white men. They're trying their best to please him, to educate themselves, to be on that same level, to get where he is. If you don't destroy them, he'll destroy their children. And they don't know who they truly are. They're just lost. When you look at the Black Forbes list, Forbes, these are dominant businessmen in the world. There's names like Ayman Ubizid or Joshua Aviv, Melissa Bradley's. There's another brother named Junior Bridgman who used to play for the NBA. He was one of the guys that got traded when Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came into the league. He got traded to the Milwaukee Bucks from the Lakers. They did a trade. He was one of them. But this man is rich, filthy rich. He's a billionaire. These brothers and sisters are multi-billionaires on the Forbes top 50 black entrepreneurs list. They don't even know who they truly are. They've achieved so much, but they don't know who they are. They might know who they are based on the civil rights movement. Oh, I'm from Africa, and this is who my forefathers was. But they don't know who they truly are. Okay? These brothers and sisters are not building up just a 401k or waiting on an SSI or pension. They got portfolios. Most of these brothers, they got gold or silver. A lot of these brothers and sisters got offshore accounts, like in Switzerland. They ain't waiting on a little old 401k or SSI or pension given by our captors to be under the thumb of the captors who could take that away at any given time. But mentally, they are under the captors because they trust in the foreign system that's not the Most High. So there's still confusion. Not only confusion, there's confusion of faces because they don't know who they are. They think they're like Esau. They really stop relating to their own people, meaning they don't know of the coming kingdom. They don't know of the 12 tribes of Israel within it. They don't even realize that they're the people of the book. So let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 29. All this has to do with the curses. Deuteronomy chapter 29. I'll start at 26. You may have not, or you may know those names that I've mentioned, but if you don't know them, I'll give you a name that you do understand. You got names like Tyler Perry. You got Magic Johnson, right? Magic Johnson don't know who he is. Tyler Perry don't know who he is. They may have seen us out there teaching, but they have not grasped the understanding that we are those people. Oprah Winfrey, she don't know who she is. None of these people know who they are, right? What's the name of the sister who married Prince Harry? Well, she's not an Israelite. She's an Edomite that looks like an Israelite. Right? That's confusion of faces. She looks like an Israelite, but she's not. Her mama's an Israelite, but she is not. Right? I'm talking about the kingdom of London. Prince Harry, who married, I forget her name. Get the name of the sister. But, yeah, let's go to Deuteronomy 29 and 26. For they went and served other gods. What are the other gods? You see, it's a liturgy. These are not only gods of wood and stone, these are also people. They started worshiping the kings of the earth. For they went and served other gods and worshiped them, gods whom they knew not, and whom he had not given unto them. Deuteronomy 29:27. And the anger of the Most High was kindled against this land, to bring upon it all the curses that are written in this book. So where's the curses written in this book? The chapter before. But a Christian would know what the curses are. Ask a Christian, can you tell me where the curses are listed in the Bible? Just a basic question, a practical question. They can't even answer that when it comes to understanding the scriptures. They don't understand the scriptures at all. Deuteronomy 29:28. And the Most High rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land as it is this day. See that? So the Most High cast the 12 tribes of Israel out of the land of Israel as it is this day. So we are scattered everywhere. The first thing we have to do is to learn our power in heaven. We have to learn the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob. And when we learn that, that's when we repent. That's when we got to repent. Then the rest of the understanding of the word will come. Like I said, Proverbs chapter 29 and 28 verse 9. Your prayer will be an abomination if you don't know the law, statutes, and commandments. It's another one too. What is that? Proverbs 13:13. Let me get it real quick. So you show a Christian or you show people who don't believe in the Bible this, when they're trying to pray to the Father, either they're going to believe it or they're going to disown the Bible. Proverbs 13:13. Proverbs 13:13. Whoso despises the word shall be destroyed. They don't believe you got to keep these laws, they're going to be destroyed. But he that feareth the commandments shall be rewarded. He's telling you, you fear my word, you'll be rewarded. The law of the wise is the foundation of life, to depart from the snares of death. This is going to teach you. Like Paul said, I knew not what I was doing until I learned the law. I did not know sin until I knew what the law was. That's what Paul said. So once you get that understanding of the fabrics of the Bible, then you can get somewhere. Then you can start talking to the Father. So what happened to us when we were scattered to these difficult and these very different lands? What happened to us? Because we were scattered all over the world, everywhere. Let me give you an example first of all the captivities, because many people don't know the list of captivities. So how many captivities were there? 7 captivities. We are in the last captivity today. What was the first captivity? The very first captivity was when we were in Egypt. Did we get delivered out of Egypt? Yes. We got delivered by the Most High Yahawah. He delivered us with the hand of his angel. What was the second? And in Egypt, guess who we worship? Not only all the different gods of fertilities, not only the different gods of the air, not only the different gods of the land, but we also worship Pharaoh, right? We worship Pharaoh. And that was the last power that the Most High had to take down in Egypt, Pharaoh. The next captivity, number 2, we went into the Assyrian captivity. When we went into that captivity, guess what? We got delivered. We got delivered out of that captivity. The next captivity we went into was the Babylonian captivity. That's the third captivity, the Babylonian captivity. After that, another captivity came. Immediately after that one was over, we went into the Persia and the Medes captivity. Daniel was in captivity in Babylon and never got freed. Persia and the Medes came and conquered Babylon. He was in captivity again. Imagine that. Here you thinking you about to get out of captivity, and you get drawn back into captivity again. So he was in captivity. The only one that escaped these captivities out of the prophets that we know of, that's a prominent name of the giant prophets, I'll call them, is Jeremiah. Jeremiah did not go into captivity under these two great beasts. So the fourth captivity was Persia and the Medes. The fifth great captivity that we went into was the Greeks. The Greeks put us in captivity. That's where you get the book of the Maccabees from, that they won't put in the regular Bibles anymore. So Christian people don't even know that there's a book of Maccabees. And this is why they get the confusion of neither Jew or Greek when you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because they never read the book of the Maccabees. The Greeks had us in captivity too. This is where Alexander the Greek came from. We learned about that in school, from elementary school, from first grade to 12th grade. We learned about Alexander the Greek, but we never knew it was in the Bible. Well, the book of Maccabees is that book that's missing from the Bible. That was the Greek captivity. It also includes Queen of, I can't even think of her name. Anyways, that's where you see her name in there.
Queen Cleopatra.
In the book of Maccabees. The sixth captivity that we went into, sixth great captivity we went into that we're still kind of in a desolate state of, was the Roman captivity. The Roman captivity, and that's dealing with the Gospels. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, all into the letters, the Roman captivity. They ruled everything. They ruled Egypt. They ruled India. They ruled all parts of Europe. They ruled North Africa. The Romans. They made a significant change in the world on all people, especially the Israelites. We thought we were Romans after a while. Just like in the Greek captivity, we thought we were Greek. All right? And the last captivity is we were scattered into all nations, just like we just read in Deuteronomy 28. And every nation had its captive, especially America, a.k.a. Mystery Babylon. We were scattered into all nations, especially America. That's Mystery Babylon. So 7 captivities we've been in. We've been scattered to 7 captivities, right? And what's going to happen to all these people who's brainwashed us in 7 captivities? I'll show you. Let's go to Jeremiah 30. Every one of these captivities, some of us left, some of us stayed. Some of us like, oh, no, I'm not leaving. I love it here. I'm not going nowhere. And a bunch of families stayed in those captivities. They stayed in the land. They got comfortable with the ways of Babylon and with Persia and the Medes and with the Greeks. They got comfortable. And they started acting like those nations, which made us even more lost. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 11. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 11. Now, this is the prophecy of all these nations who put us in captivity. This is what the Most High is going to do to them. And this is why he's not coming for all people of the world. He's coming for his children who were scattered into these nations. Doesn't that make sense? Jeremiah 30, verse 11. For I am with thee, saith the Most High, to save you, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee. So he's telling you right here, I've scattered you into all nations, just like I said in the curses, in Deuteronomy 28. He said you're going to have no ease in these nations. So you wonder why you feel the way that you do? It's because we were scattered. That's how you know you're an Israelite. We weren't supposed to be here. You know, the Negroes and the indigenous Indians are the only ones who are here that are on the lowest scale. We're the ones that are exempt. Why wouldn't the Most High come get those nations? Right? Because within the 12 tribes of Israel, we're nations. Let's go to Genesis 35. Let's start at 9. Genesis 35, verse 9. And the Most High appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Padanaram, and blessed him. And the Most High said unto him, now this is the Most High Yahawah talking to Jacob. Thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel, his name, not the land. He called his name. So this is our forefather, Israel. And the Most High said unto him, I am Yahawah Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of you, and kings shall come out of thy loins. So he's telling you right here, out of our nation, we're going to have companies of nations that come out of us, meaning the 12 sons of Jacob became nations. Each of the tribes are nations. Judah is a nation. Benjamin is a nation. Issachar is a nation. Gad is a nation. Zebulun is a nation. All these different tribes are nations within a nation. This is confusion to the Christians. This is confusion to the Muslims. They don't understand this. So wherever we are a nation within a nation. The Israelites. Let's go back to Jeremiah. I hope you understand what I just showed you. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 11. So when he's saying this, for I am with thee, saith the Most High, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations. He's not talking about Israel. Remember, Israel is a nation within a nation. We're a company of nations. But these nations, all these nations, are the heathen nations. Though I make a full end of all nations where I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of you. Talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. But I will correct you in measure, meaning he's going to teach us the law, statutes, and commandments through affliction, and will not leave you altogether unpunished. Some of them he's going to punish, some of them he's not going to punish. He's going to use those that he punished as an example for you to get right. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 12. For thus saith the Most High of hosts, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous, meaning none of these nations that we are dwelling in, none of them can help us. None of them. Jeremiah 30, verse 13. There is none to plead thy cause. No one can save us. That thou mayest be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicines. All thy lovers, meaning all other nations, the heathen nations, they're considered our lovers because we love them more than we love the Most High, right? You say, I love America. We put the flags around us when we run the track and winning championships. All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not. For I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. Everything that we eat here is defiled. And when it's defiled, it defiles us, and we become corrupted, we become sick, we become crazy, right? And this is why we have to come back to the Most High so he can heal us. Jeremiah 30 and 15. Why criest thou for thine affliction? Thy sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thine iniquity. You can take all types of medicine, Seroquel, and all these mental drugs, and they ain't going to help you. Because thy sins were increased, I have done these things unto you. Therefore, all they that devour you shall be devoured. All those who put us in captivity is going to be held captive. This is where Revelation says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. That's this verse right here. It's the same thing. That's why people, when they read that in Revelation, they're like, what is he talking about? Well, he's talking about all these nations who had us in captivity. It's all about the 12 tribes of Israel. He's telling the other people that they're going to go in captivity. And all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. That's why I always say when you watch the movie Roots, did not everybody go into captivity, including Kunta Kinte? He couldn't run and escape, could he? He couldn't. He had to lose toes and feet and everything. He still couldn't escape. Geronimo couldn't escape, right? We could not escape. All of us went into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil. And all they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So we're all prey. brothers playing in the national professional sporting leagues, football, boxing, basketball. We'll pray for them, man. We're up 1 minute and down the next, and they forget all about us. For I will restore health unto you, and I will heal you of thy wounds, saith the Most High. Because they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Thus saith the Most High, Behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents, meaning we're going to be in tents and we're going to have other nations in captivity. Just like Abraham, he had Hagar. Egypt gave him Hagar as a gift. She was his slave. And have mercy on his dwelling places. And the city shall be builded up upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. Let's read down to 19. Yeah. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving, and the voice of them that make merry. When we go back into Jerusalem, we're going to praise the Most High. We're going to have a feast, a huge feast, and we're going to give him praise. And I will multiply them. So in the kingdom, we're going to be multiplied. And they shall not be few. Remember, he said in Deuteronomy 28, you shall be few in number, and I will scatter you. This is what he's talking about. We're not going to be few anymore. We're going to multiply. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. This is why the other nations is going to do away with them, so the 12 tribes of Israel can multiply. Let me show you in Sirach. Let's go to the Apocrypha. People underestimate what's going on because they don't know what's going on. They don't truly understand. But Esau do. Esau knows what's going on. Trust me. He knows what's going on. That's why he's keeping everything quiet. Right? He's not publicizing us on his news or anything unless we do something stupid. Then he publicizes it. Sirach chapter 17. Sirach chapter 17. And let's go to verse 27. And let's read to 28. And it reads, Who shall praise the Most High in the grave? How can you praise him in the grave? Right? Remember he said in Ezekiel 37 that he will wake us up out of our graves. It's talking twofold. It's talking about in our minds that we're going to wake up because our mind is a graveyard. And secondly, the resurrection. He's going to wake us up out of our grave. Who shall praise the Most High in the grave instead of them which live and give thanks? So us that live are those who keep his commandments. He said, keep my commandments and live, Proverbs 7:2. Keep my commandments and live. All right, he gives the breath of life. 28. Thanksgiving perish from the dead as from one that is not. The living and sound in heart shall praise the Most High. So praise the Most High with your breath. That's why it's good to do breathing exercises. You know, a lot of us don't do it, but when you do breathing exercises, it's just like you working out. You know, you go to a gym, you work out, you do 10 reps here, you do another rep, and you're breathing. You're sweating more. Breathing is good. When you breathe, you're intaking oxygen into your body, and that oxygen is filling your mind, it's filling your blood vessels, right? It's causing your blood vessels to move, right? It's good to breathe. So even if you can't work out, practice breathing. Take 20 deep breaths and through your nose and release out your mouth slowly. Do that every day, and you'll be amazed. You can lose weight just by breathing, practicing breathing every day. That's something we don't do. The Most High, that was the first exercise he gave us. Let me give you the breath of life. He didn't say, work out, Adam, get up, start doing 10 push-ups. He said, Adam, I'm going to give you the breath of life, meaning to breathe. So practice breathing exercises. They got classes just for learning how to breathe. Practice that. You'll be amazed. Some of the ailments that you have will go away just by breathing. In and out, in and out, in and out. Especially like when you see the fog, that's almost like the firmament coming down to the earth. That's perfect air to breathe, the fog. All right, go outside and breathe. It's fresh air. Most times, look at the plants, how they start, growing just because of the fog and saturating all that moisture up. So just like the plants, We got to be the same way. Learn from everything around you, the plants, the birds. You're getting stronger from that. But we got to give him praise because we are the living. We are the living. We have his commandments. Let's learn the rest of what the Most High wants us to learn. Let's go back to Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 20. Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 20. It reads, their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me. And I will punish all that oppressed him. Remember in the book of Job how he was afflicted? He lost all his children in the beginning by the Sabeans, which are the Hamites. He lost his children. He lost his family. And then he was under affliction. In the end, what happened? The Most High gave him his family back. Gave him more sons. Gave him more daughters. Gave him more stock. That's the way the Most High is going to do us in the kingdom. When you look at Job, it's just a reflection of us being in captivity today, right? So in Jeremiah 30 and 20, he's telling you after he makes a full end of all nations that he's going to multiply us. He says, their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I will punish all that oppressed them. Everybody you lost, you're going to get back. Most High is going to give it all back to you. Yeah, we lost people in our affliction. I've lost many people in my affliction. I don't know how I deal with or cope with these things today. I've lost so many family members, and I just keep pushing. I just keep walking like nothing ever happened, But the Most High is going to give you everything back. So Egypt, we know what happened to Pharaoh, whom all Egypt worshipped, including the Israelites. Egypt was destroyed by the Most High. We know what happened in Babylon. Same thing that happened in Egypt. But if you go into the Apocrypha, let's substantiate what happened in Babylon, because we worship Pharaoh in Egypt, but did we worship the king of Babylon the same way? Let's go to the book of Judith in the Apocrypha. Book of Judith. And let's go to chapter 3. I just want to substantiate the fact that we keep doing the same stupid thing in every captivity. Judith chapter 3 and verse 8. And the crazy thing is, we thought the civil rights movement was a good thing, that we were finally able to vote and do things like to get people in office. We thought that was a good thing at one time. Yeah, you want to put somebody in there to help you, but the Most High gave us strict understanding, strict instructions that we're supposed to only vote for those who are of our own kindred. He tells us, don't vote for nobody else because they ain't going to have your best interest. But in all these captivities, this is what happened. Judith chapter 3, verse 8. Judith chapter 3, verse 8. Yet he did cast down their frontiers and cut down their groves, for he had decreed to destroy all the gods of the land, that all nations should worship Nebuchadnezzar only, and that all tongues and tribes should call upon him as what? As God. Pharaoh was called a God. Nebuchadnezzar was called a God. Xerxes was called a God. What do you think Trump wants to be? He wants to be God on earth. Same thing. The Pope wants to be God on earth. Chop down everything you know. It says that he cut down every grove. Everything we know got cut down. We don't have a temple. We don't have nothing. It strip everything away from us. That's what they did in every captivity. Strip everything away. Gave us new names in Babylon. Took our customs, tried to take our customs away. So every captivity is the same way. They keep trying to strip us of everything. So we call Nebuchadnezzar God instead of our power, Yahweh, who is our rock, our strength. It wasn't Yahweh, but it was Nebuchadnezzar. Let's go to Lamentations. Book of Lamentations. This is written by Jeremiah, Lamentations. Lamentations chapter 4 and 15. Lamentations chapter 4 and 15. Let's read down to 21. All right, and it reads here at verse 15. They cried unto them, depart ye, it is unclean, depart, depart, touch not, When they fled away and wandered, they said among the heathen, they shall no more sojourn there. Talking about our land of Israel. The heathen was making fun of us. They get away from your land. Verse 16, the anger of the Most High has divided them. He will no more regard them. They respected not the persons of the priests, which are our priests. They favored not the elders, right? They start worshiping other gods of other nations. As for us, talking about the Israelites, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. We're waiting on America to save us. We're waiting on America to give us reparations. We're waiting on America to give us back our land. It ain't going to happen. We're waiting on them to save us. I tell you right there. They hunt our steps. Everything we do, they hunt it. If you're making too much money, they put a fraud case on you. Oh, you misuse. You see that sister that just got caught up with fraud for using monies for the election? And then you got the brother from the Fugees that just got caught up, took his monies to dominate, to try to help the Obamas thing. I'm telling you, they hunt our steps. What we trying to do right, they still hunt our steps. Can't do nothing right. Everything we do, they after us. That we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. The brothers in the NBA getting caught up with Chauncey Billups, getting caught up with gambling. The FBI all over them. They gambling. They ain't the only ones gambling. What about all the other mobs and mafias and businessmen that are gambling? They went after them. Our persecutors are swifter than eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They lay wait for us in the wilderness. The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of the Most High, was taken in their pits, of whom we said, under his shadow we shall live among the heathen. See that? That's the Black Forbes list. That's all our brothers who's trying to get reparations, right? We're living among the heathen. We want what the heathen got. The Most High says, envy not the heathen. Envy not the treasures of the heathen. Lamentations 4:21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. That's who's ruling, the daughter of Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz. Uz is the capitals. Wherever Edom is, that's their capital. Washington is the capital of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto you. Meaning Edom is going to get that captivity that Jeremiah 30:11 talked about. Thou shalt be drunken, meaning she's going to be scatterbrained in her mind, and shalt make thyself naked. We're going to see Edom lose their wisdom. Now, that should tell you where we are. We're dwelling amongst the heathen. Let's go to Psalms 28. Let's find out what our help is. Psalms chapter 28. Psalms chapter 28 and verse 7. Psalms 28 and verse 7. The Most High is my strength and my shield. This is what you have to remember. He's our strength. Not President Obama, not George Bush, not Donald Trump. You know, the Most High is my strength and my shield. My heart trusted in him, and I am helped. Therefore my heart greatly rejoiceth, and with my song will I praise him. We have to praise the Most High. The Most High is their strength, and he is the saving strength of his anointed. Who is his anointed? The scattered, the saints, the elect. I'm praying for all Israel, not just the elect. I'm praying for all Israel to get there. I'm like Ezra. Ezra did not think that he was better than anybody else. I'm acting like the prophets. You know, I'm not trying to make myself bigger than what I am. Well, let's look at that next kingdom after Babylon, which is Persia, right? Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Persia. So Xerxes was the king of Persia in the Medes. And when Xerxes was there, all worshiped Xerxes. Remember, Xerxes married our sister, Esther. And Esther was a sister who passed for a different breed of person. Even though she's from Benjamin, even though she was from our tribes, she had one of them different looks. You know, some of our people, they have a different look. You know, you be thinking that they somebody else. You're like, what are you? You know, can't even figure out what they are. That was Esther. She had that different look. Let's go to Esther chapter 1. She fell within the cracks, if you know what I mean. A lot of our sisters are like that. They fall within the cracks. You can't tell who they are or what they are or where they come from. That's the beauty of our people. Esther chapter 1, verse 1. So in these captivities, confusion of faces is running rampant through these different captivities. And I'm going to show you how in a second. Esther chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Artaxerxes. This is Artaxerxes, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia. So now that you see that, India even unto Ethiopia, these are dark nations. So you know how the people in Ethiopia look, and you know how the people in India look. So it's like a splash of both, right? So just imagine you taking an Ethiopian race and splashing it with an Indian race. You get the same thing you got over here in the Americas. You got Negro and Native American Indian and Latino. The same stuff. It's just under a different name. All right. So from India even up to Ethiopia, over 120 provinces. That in those days when the king Artaxerxes sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes or governors and his servants. Like the provinces, the 20 provinces are like governments. They're like states. The power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him. When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days, this man was filthy rich. He was powerful, beyond powerful. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan the palace. Like Trump is trying to give everybody $2,000. This is how this man was. Both unto the great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings, fastened with cords of fine linen and purple, the silver rings and pillars of marble, the most exquisite, all types of styles in this particular castle, just beautiful. The beds were of gold and silver upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black and marble. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold. They didn't have no glasses or plastic cups. The vessels being diverse one from another, and royal wine in abundance, the best wine, according to the state of the king. So as we read this, we see that this man was filthy rich. He was not only a king, he was a god. So all were one in Persia as well. All prayers as Israelites were at war with the sorcerers and with the demons and the gargoyles of this kingdom. Just like we have today, right? We have different fashions of sorcerers in this kingdom. We have the Masons, we have the Eastern Stars, we have the fraternities, we have the sororities. These are all sorcerers. These are all gargoyles. These are demons and witches. They pray against us. Whenever you say a prayer, they double the prayer. They pray against you. Let's see one of the prophets in this kingdom. Let's go to Daniel. He's in the same kingdom. Remember, Daniel went from Babylon captivity straight to the Persian and Medes captivity. He never left. He stayed in captivity. Imagine that. You staying in captivity as a slave. Daniel chapter 9. Daniel chapter 9. Now let's read verse 1. Daniel was in dire straits. He was in Deuteronomy 28. He was in sorrow. He was in affliction. He was in tribulation because he was in captivity, just like us. His money came from that system. Just like our money. We got to go to work every day, don't we? We're in captivity. We can't do nothing. We stop working, we stop eating. We lose our roof, we lose everything. Daniel was in that same predicament. He saw his people in that predicament. Daniel chapter 9, verse 1. In the first year of Darius, the son of Artaxerxes, see that? There it is again. Of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. So he was king over their district. In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years. He was smart, very calculated. Whereof the word of the Most High came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolations of Jerusalem. So Daniel was able to look at the prophecies and understand them. The things that Jeremiah wrote that we read about in Lamentations. Daniel understood Jeremiah's writings. And I set my face unto the Most High Yahawah to seek by prayer and supplications with fasting and sackcloth and ashes. And I prayed unto the Most High my power and made my confession and said, O Yahawah, the great and dreadful power, keeping the covenant and mercy to them that love him and to them that keep his commandments. So he was trying to keep the commandments in Persia. We have sinned and have committed iniquity and have done wickedly and have rebelled, even by departing from the precepts and from the judgments, from thy judgments. Neither have we hearkened unto thy servants, the prophets, meaning to all Israel being in Persia and Medes, stop listening. They stopped keeping the commandments, which spoke in thy name to our kings, our princes, and our fathers, and to all the people of the land. O power, righteousness belongs unto us, unto you. But unto us, what? Confusion of faces. We didn't know who we are. He couldn't trust nobody. He couldn't trust his own people. Confusion of faces. Our people was lost. They was doing wicked things during this time. As at this day, just like today, to the men of Judah and to the habitation of Jerusalem and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries, whether thou hast driven them. So he even knew that we were driven into all countries. Look at that. Why is this a surprise? Most of us don't realize we were scattered into all countries. Because of their trespass that they had trespassed against thee. O Yahawah, to us belongeth what? Again, he says it again, confusion of faces. We don't know who to trust. We don't know who's who. We don't know who's an Israelite or who's an idol worshiper. We don't know. We don't know who's our own people. Our own people are sleeping around with the other people. We don't know. To our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. To the Most High Yahawah, our power, belong mercies and forgiveness. That's why we have to repent first, though we have rebelled against him. See that? So this is what we have to work on. So Daniel knew prophecies, and he also knew about us being scattered. He also knew about us forgetting the law, committing adulteries, marrying strange women, and having strange children, which brought in what? Confusion of faces. Now let's go to Nehemiah, because this is a little bit sooner. This is a little bit after when Nehemiah, after Daniel tried to go and rebuild the kingdom of Israel, but he had to first make sure Israel got in line because they were going off. Nehemiah 13 and verse 23. Because of us going into captivity, this is what happened. And this is what the prophets and the priests noted in their books. Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 23. And look at what it says. In those days also saw I Jews meaning the tribe of Benjamin, the tribe of Levi, the tribe of Judah, that had married wives of Ashdod. What is Ashdod? That's the African nations, the Philistines who come from the Egyptians. So we were marrying wives of the Egyptians, like Samson married the Philistines. We were marrying the Philistines. Of Ammon, the Japanese, and of Moab, the Chinese. So we was marrying these type of women. We was going off. And their children spoke half in the speech of the Philistines, Ashdod, the Africans, and could not speak in their own language, couldn't speak in the Jews' language because they was in captivity. Remember, they told us not to speak our language, but according to the language of each people. So they were speaking everybody else's language because they was more entertained by everybody else's language. They weren't even tripping off the Hebrew. Verse 25, and I contended with them and cursed them and smite certain of them and plucked off their hair and made them swear by the Most High, saying, you shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things? Yet among many nations was there no king like him, who was beloved of his power. Solomon still did good, even though he went off. Right? We still read about all the things that he did. And the Most High made him king over all of Israel. Nevertheless, even in him did outlandish women cause him to sin. That's the whole key. When you marry these other nations, it cause you to sin. I think in the Philippine language, they have we spoke about this on the conference call before. They have a dish called blood meat or something dealing with blood. No, Philippines too. Mexicans have that too, but Philippines, they have like a blood dish, right? It's supposed to be like a delicacy. So, you marry these other nations and you start dealing with the other nations' foods and their customs and worshiping of false idols. Try this. Oh, let's do this. Oh, this is cute. Why don't you do this? And you fall victim. So here's the prophets getting mad at Solomon because he fell off and caused all of Israel to sin by these things. All right? 26. Let's go to 27. Shall we then hearken unto you to do all this great evil, to transgress against our power in marrying strange wives? See that? So this is what the Most High was saying. Don't be falling victim. And our men are always known as the travel passport brothers, and they go into these other countries, and that's what they hooking up with, these heathens, Japanese, Moab, Chinese, Ammon. They're going into these other countries, nations that they don't even know, that worship other idols, and they're marrying these people and having children with them, right? And most of the time, the children lean to the mothers. So if the mother is from another nation, she's, of course, going to teach them her language. And the children are going to pick up what the mom taught them. Not so much what the father's doing, but what the mom taught them, right? It's just natural. Let's go to Ezra. Ezra, not in the Apocrypha, but in the Scriptures. Ezra. And let's go to the 10th chapter. So you got confusion of faces right there. Ezra chapter 10. Let's find out more confusion of faces. People are like, oh no, Israel never married other nations. That's what the all Negro brothers say today. All Negro Israelites. Like, can't nobody else be Israelites but the Negroes. Like, man, come on, man. We were scattered to these other nations. And what we're reading about is what happened to Israel when they were scattered into other nations. They was marrying other people. And they was making babies and everything else with these other people. And those babies multiplied. Ezra chapter 10, verse 9. Ezra chapter 10, verse 9. Then all the men of Judah and Benjamin gathered themselves together unto Jerusalem within 3 days. It was the 9th month, just like it is now, on the 20th day of the month. And all the people sat in the street of the house of the Most High, trembling because of this matter, and for the great rain. What matter are they trembling about? What we just read about, marrying other women from other nations. See, it's a lust. You start lusting after these women, most of the men. Ezra chapter 10, verse 10. And Ezra the priest stood up and said unto them, Ye have transgressed and have taken strange wives to increase the trespass of Israel. See that? So that increases us as a whole. The whole nation becomes trespass in that one person's trespass. Now therefore make confession unto the Most High Yahawah of your fathers, and do his pleasure, and separate yourselves from the people of the land, and from the strange wives. See that? Why are they separating themselves? So they could go back to Israel, and so they could be one people again. That's why they're separating. So when we get ready to go back to the land, the Most High is going to do a separation again. He's going to set everybody aside who's Israel and who's not Israel. So he's showing you right here, because it's a trespass, the Most High has an order. That's all it is. There is an order. What about Ruth? Is she going to make it? Ruth is going to be in captivity in the kingdom. She's going to be right where she's supposed to be. She's going to be a servant. Just like she was serving her husband, she's going to be a servant again because she's from Moab. Ezra chapter 10, verse 12. Then all the congregation answered and said with a loud voice, as thou hast said, so must we do. But the people are many, and it is time of much rain. So there was many people who were committing this sin, marrying other women of other nations. Many. And we are not able to stand without, neither is this a work of one day or two. Like I said, you can't do things in one moment. So they're even complaining about that here. Like, you can't do this in one day. For we are many that have transgressed in this thing. See that? So Israel had totally went off, man. Totally went off. And they all knew they couldn't go back into the kingdom unless this was fixed. So what does this mean for the children that are born of these marriages? Notice, if there's a man of Israel who married a wife who had children, that those children are considered Israelites. And this is where the law of the strangers come in at. When you read Exodus chapter 23, there's a law for the strangers. Those who do not know our customs are strangers. But if they are Israelites, they will soon learn it, slowly, little by little. That is the law of the strangers. Now, I hope this made some sense for you, but Daniel called it confusion of faces. So while he was in Persia, he dealt with this, and he prayed about it, and he fasted. So let's go back to Daniel, and let's go to Daniel chapter 10. Daniel chapter 10, verse 12. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for from the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before thy power, thy words were heard, and I come for thy words. Now, Daniel was saying a prayer, and an angel showed up. And this is what the angel said. The first day you set your mind to do what's right and pray, we already heard it. So the Most High already heard his prayer because of the sincerity of Daniel. Daniel 10 and verse 13. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. 21 days he was withstood by the kingdom of Persia. But lo, Michael, one of the chief princes came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I am come to make thee understand what shall befall thy people in the latter days. But yet the vision is for many days. So Daniel knew about what was going on. He said a prayer. The angel understood him. But the angel said, even though you was praying and fasting for 21 days, I was held up. So how could this angel, an all-powerful angel, be held up? Right? Remember what kingdom this is. Is this the kingdom of Jerusalem that Daniel was in? No, he was in the kingdom of Persia. So what happens in the kingdom of Persia? Let's go to Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. This is what happens. Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. Now this is about Yahawashi and King Herod. It reads, Now when Yahawashi was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, and Herod was an Edomite, just so y'all know. He had slipped in there. He was a sly wolf, sly fox. He slipped into the kingdom of Judah as a king. Behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. So what did they see? What did these wise men see? They saw a sign. They saw a sign, a star in the east. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. So what did King Herod ask his chief priests? These chief priests were sorcerers. They were sorcerers. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for this it is written by the prophet, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. Why did he ask? Because he wanted to kill all the firstborn. See that? The sorcerers get involved when we are waiting on the deliverer. Our prayers get disturbed when we are praying to the Most High to deliver us. Who does it get disturbed by? The left-hand side, right? You wonder why they never tell us that UFOs are real, because they're fighting against us. You wonder why they never tell us that the 12 tribes of Israel exist and they're scattered through America, because they're fighting against us. It's the same thing that King Herod was doing. He's trying to prevent Yahawashi from coming on the earth. So he's going to kill all the children under 2 years of age. So it happened then. It happened in Daniel. It also happened during the time of Moses. Let's go to the book of Exodus. This is why the angel was held up for 21 days. You have things that work behind the scenes to try to prevent these things from happening. Daniel chapter 7. Let's go to Exodus chapter 7, verse 10. Exodus chapter 7, verse 10. Exodus chapter 7, verse 10. And it reads, and Moses and Aaron went in unto Pharaoh, and they did so as the Most High had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the what? And the sorcerers. Now the magicians of Egypt, they also did in like manner with their enchantments, with their magic. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods, and he hardens Pharaoh's heart, that he hearkened not unto them as the Most High has said. Just like Pharaoh's heart was hardened, so was Herod. His heart was hardened. They both did the same thing. They summoned their sorcerers and their magicians to prevent it from happening. Let's go to Daniel chapter 2 and 2. Daniel chapter 2. So this same thing was going on during the time of Daniel. There were sorcerers in Babylon and in Persia and the Medes. It reads, then the king commanded to call the what? The magicians. And the what? The astrologers. That's NASA, the snake, to read the stars, right? And the sorcerers. So the magicians, the astrologers, and the sorcerers. And the Chaldeans. Who are the Chaldeans? The wise men. What are they all doing? Praying against everything that we do. For to show the king his dream. So they came and stood before the king. So this stuff is nothing new. He asked them to show him his dream, and he didn't even explain his dream. So what kind of powers do the sorcerers and the magicians and the Chaldeans, what do they have? They have powers on the left-hand side. So who was restraining the angel from coming in? Now how was, when we look at the Prince of Persia, how did he withstand the angel for 21 days? First and foremost, you have to understand Daniel's in the Persian government. Many things happen within the Persian government. You have orders, you have chain of command, you have soldiers, you have spies, you have distractions, a lot of distractions going on in kingdoms. Just like today, we have many distractions, right? We see things on news, on ABC, CBS, CNN News, and they're never telling us the real story behind the scenes. Daniel was in a kingdom, and you have to realize what Daniel was. He just wasn't some little servant. Daniel was a president in Persia. He was a top man in Persia. Let's go to Daniel chapter 6 and 3. Let me show you. Daniel chapter 6 and verse 3. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him. He was very wise, very witty. And the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Remember the promises that the king had. The king's going to set him over the whole realm. So Daniel was a president, and presidents have bodyguards. Presidents have security. Presidents have policemen. Presidents have spies. Presidents have checkpoints. Their guards have to do checks every 15 minutes on the hour, every 30 minutes on the hour, because that person is in a high position. So many lives depend on that man making decisions. So they're going to protect him at all costs. Okay? Remember, they caught Daniel praying once when it was not lawful. Look at Daniel chapter 6, verse 7. Daniel chapter 6, verse 7. And it reads, all the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains, this is big clergy, have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing. They made this decree because they knew Daniel prayed 3 times a day. That it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, like we prayed earlier, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day, prostrated himself, and prayed, and gave thanks before his power, as he did aforetime. Then these men assembled, and what happened? They found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God, before his power. So what was they doing? Spying on him, doing checks on him. You know, the captain has soldiers, lieutenants, sergeants. He has all these different men upon him. He has corporals. They're all doing their checks. And guess what? They found Daniel praying, going against the decree that was signed. So yeah, this is a distraction. When you can't pray to your power, that's a distraction. And how does the Most High like to work? The Most High likes to yourself. He likes you to be alone, away from distractions. And this is how the angel was distracted. This is how the angel was held back for 21 days. Let's read the 16. Then they came near and spoke before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any power of man within 30 days, save of thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Then answered they and said before the king that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not you, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition to the Most High 3 times a day. So Daniel's going to serve the Most High in season and out of season, regardless of the decree. Then the king, when he heard these things, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. And these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into what? The den of lions. See that? And he served the Most High continually, and he was delivered. So Daniel was being distracted. This is why the angel was held up. So this is what it is. And this is what is meant that the angel was held up 21 days. Distraction. You are distracted daily. You're distracted from praising the Most High every day. Somehow or some way, You're interrupted in the middle of your prayers. You're interrupted by your work. You're interrupted by family. You're interrupted by your phone calls, right? You're interrupted by your friends. Potential spam calls. Don't think that they just happen. Potential spam calls is to interrupt your mind from thinking about the Most High. Here you thinking about the Most High, and here go your phone going on. You don't even recognize the number. Spam calls are made to prevent you from praying to the Father. Think about it. Why did it happen during this time of all times during the awakening? We're all awakened, and we all got phones, and we're getting all these potential spam calls. You can't block them all. You can download apps to prevent these spam calls from coming. They still come in the middle of your prayers. You're being distracted, all right? Anything to get you not to focus on the Most High. So you got to remember Yahawashi. And Yahawashi purposely went out into the wilderness. Let's go to Matthew chapter 4. Distractions are a big part of Satan's weapons. Distractions. All right? Don't underestimate the distractions that come in when you're praying to the Father. Matthew chapter 4, verse 1. Matthew chapter 4, verse 1. Then was Yahawashi led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered. He was distracted by food. You get distracted by food. You get distracted by going to the bathroom. You study and you got to go to the bathroom instantly. Like boom, right? Got to go right now. You know, you're distracted. You're distracted by sleep. Matthew chapter 4, verse 3. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of the Most High, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High. So let's drop down so we know the rest of this, right? But the part that we have to notice, look at Matthew 4 and 11. Matthew chapter 4, verse 11. Notice what it says here. Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. So when you're not distracted, the Most High could talk with you. He could come deal with you. Sometimes you got to get away. Sometimes you just got to go by yourself and be somewhere, because we're constantly distracted. This is the MO of the Most High. He wants to get you away from everything. Look at the prophets. They always got them far away from all the people. Distraction. You can't necessarily watch videos all day long and not look at it as being a distraction from you praying to the Father. Sometimes you got to cut everything off, cut your phone off, and just pray to the Most High and let him work on you. Practice your breathing exercises, you know? Practice your breathing exercises at that time. Let the Most High work through you. Let's go to 2nd Ezra in the Apocrypha. 2nd Ezra. And let's go to chapter 9, 2nd Ezra chapter 9. Distractions are a major piece of your concentration. Distractions. 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 23. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 23. I knew this one brother, he used to just cut his phone off for 4 days. He was like, man, I'm cutting my phone. He'd tell everybody, I'm cutting my phone off for 4 days. Don't even try to reach me. Because he was trying to get in sync with the Most High. He didn't want nobody bothering him. Nobody. He lived in his truck. He's like, man, don't worry about me. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be praying. 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 23. And let's go to verse 28. Nevertheless, this is Ezra showing you that the Most High wanted him to separate from everybody, right? From the children, from everybody. 2nd Ezra 9 and verse 23. Nevertheless, if thou wilt cease yet 7 days more, but thou shalt not fast in them, but go into a field of flowers where no house is builded, and eat only the flowers of the field. Taste no flesh, drink no wine, but eat flowers only. Flowers have a medicinal use to it, certain flowers. Verse 25, and pray unto the highest continually, then will I come and talk with you. So I went my way into the field, which is called Ardith, like as he commanded me. And there I sat among the flowers, and did eat of the herbs of the field, and the meat of the same satisfied me. And 7 days I sat upon the grass, and my heart was vexed within me, like as before. So the Most High came to Ezra as he separated himself from everyone to be in line and be in sync with the Father. You see that? When you look at the scriptures, the Most High wants to isolate you sometimes, where you have no distractions, so he can spiritually speak to you. Sometimes there's just too much going on around you, and you have to get away, and you have to get close to him. That's why when you look at Israel, they were mostly always shepherds. Notice that? They were shepherds. They would be out there in the fields with the sheep. They would be meditating quietly in the field. David was like that. Moses was like that. Abraham was like that. Isaac, Jacob, they were all like that. You know, it's something. It's some kind of peace just to be out there and just meditating on the quietness. You get closer to the Most High. You know, so we have said that the scattered Israelites were normally worshiping the kings of other kingdoms. Okay, let's check out the Greeks when they stormed into Jerusalem. Let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1. First Maccabees chapter 1. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 41. Now this is the Greek captivity. We talked about the Egyptians. We talked about the Assyrians. We talked about the Babylonians, the Persians and the Medes. Now we're talking about the Greeks. This is the other captivity. Remember, it's 7 captivities total we went into. We're in the last one, which is the 7th captivity. But this is during the Greek captivity. And watch how our people lost their way and started what? Following other gods. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 41. And it reads, moreover, King Antiochus, now this is Alexander the Greek's, this is one of his generals who became king. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom, which was Africa, which was India, which was Ethiopia, which was Persia, which was parts of Europe, which was parts of Spain. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also other Israelites consented to his religion. Whose religion? The Greeks' religion. So they gave up their belief in the Most High. And it says, and sacrifice unto idols and profane the Sabbath day. So this is what the Israelites were into at this time. They were worshiping other gods through the Greeks. See that? So our people were going totally off. And you wonder why the Most High ain't dealing with us. Jump over to verse, let's read verse 10 and we'll come back to 43. First Maccabees 1 verse 10. 1 verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the what? Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel what? Wicked men. These are like your top men of Israel. They were wicked. Who persuaded many, because they had clout, they persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are around about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow, because they wasn't participating in what the heathens believed, because they had more clout than us. They had control of the trade, the food, the money, the diamonds, everything. They had control of it, and we were losing weight because we didn't have any kind of clout. So we joined with the heathens. Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them a license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. What kind of license? A license to sin. They were able to break the Most High's laws and sin. Let's go back down to 43. I'll start at 42. And everyone should leave his laws, so that all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. They stopped keeping the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, just like Xerxes had did, and the king of Babylon had did, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. So we couldn't keep our feast days, we couldn't keep the Sabbath, we couldn't have sacrifices. Now this is before Yahawashi came. So how was we repenting for our sins? We weren't able to repent for our sins. Verse 46, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice what? Swine's flesh. So we sacrifice some pork. You know, once you sacrifice it, then you're allowed to eat it. So they burn it to the gods, and then they would eat it. And unclean beasts. That's why I say, you women who get wigs, or tell your family members, those who get wigs, they better pray over those wigs before they put it on their heads, because a lot of times those weaves come from diseased people that cut their hair off. They come from women who sacrifice to their gods, they cut their hair off. And then you turn around and put that on your head, and you didn't even pray over it to get that defilement off of it. You know? Verse 48, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the what? The law, and change all the ordinances. And now you wonder why we don't know the law. Now you understand when we read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, where it says do away with the law, it's coming from the Greeks. All right? Now you understand. We're never supposed to give up the law, statutes, and commandments. Never. So now confusion of faces is 3/4 of the way completed throughout Israel, through all the different captivities. Now 1/4 more had to be destroyed. And guess what? We're a part of that 1/4 more that had to be destroyed, from Rome to the Americas. The whole house of Israel was sick. We all had an incurable disease, which was we forgot the Most High. So let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 21. We're almost done. Let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 21. Luke chapter 21, verse 20. Luke chapter 21, verse 20. And it reads, I'm going to read a little faster so we can get done. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, this is during the days of Yahawashi, he's telling the disciples this is what's going to happen, then know that the desolation thereof is near. Then let them, the desolation is the Greek captivity, the Roman captivity, the American captivity. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries ever or enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, and all things which are written may be fulfilled. So this is during the days of the Romans. Yahawashi was telling them that these Romans are going to turn on all of you and cast you out. And he said, leave before it's too late. Luke 21 and 23, but woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. The other 1/4 fulfilled this last curse. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the what? The Gentiles. Who are the Gentiles? All other nations, Moab, Ammon, Ham, Japheth, until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So this is what's going on today. First Maccabees chapter 3 and 34. This is what those Israelites who were in Israel, they said, I ain't going nowhere, even if they kill me. This is what they said. First Maccabees 2:34. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. So some Israelites stood their ground in Israel. And this is coming from the Greek captivity, but the same thing happened in the Roman captivity. Verse 35. Remember Josephus, the historian, did this. They fought against the Romans. So then they gave them the battle with all speed. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them. They didn't even throw rocks at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid, but said, let us die all in our innocence. Heaven and earth shall testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully. And that's what a lot of our people thought, that the Most High would protect us, but we had all went off. We had all started following these strange laws. And those who didn't heed the prophecy to get out of Dodge. It says, so they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle to the number of 1,000 people. So that's a gimme. The heathen know that we keep the Sabbath. So perfect time for them to conquer us is on the day that we're resting. That's what they think. If the Most High is not with us, then he could destroy us. And they know if the majority of us is falling to the wayside, he could destroy. That's why it's so hard to be the 1/3 in this kingdom. You know what I'm saying? It's so hard because you're praying against everything. You're hoping the Most High redeem us from it. 2 more verses and we'll end. Let's go to Revelation chapter 11. Revelation chapter 11. We're going to read 1 through 4. And the last verse, we're going to go into Zephaniah. All right, Revelation 1 through 4, and it reads, and there was given me a reed, this is an angel, like unto a rod. And the angel stood, saying, rise, and measure the temple of the Most High, and the altar, and them that worship therein. Remember, the altar is destroyed. But the court which is without the temple leave out, and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles. And the holy city shall they tread underfoot 42 months. So the Gentiles are treading over our city, just like Yahawashi said, to this day. So those people dwelling in Israel are not the real Israelites. They lie. Revelation 11:3. And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses. Who are the 2 witnesses? The 2 kingdoms of Israel, the 10 tribes and the 2 tribes. They are the 2 witnesses. And they shall prophesy 1,260 days clothed in sackcloth. What is the sackcloth that we wear? We're wearing sackcloth today. This is not our holy garments that we have on. Even though we may have little fringes on this thing, this is not our holy garments. We ain't walking around in our true holy garments. These are sackcloth. Revelation 11:4. These are the 2 olive trees. See that? We're considered olive trees, the 2 kingdoms of Israel. Southern kingdom and northern kingdom, and the 2 candlesticks standing before the Most High of the earth. So we stand before the Most High praying, those of us who have understanding of the law, statutes, commandments, and the sincerity of HaMashaYACH, the faith of Christ. So what we are wearing today, like I said, are not holy garments. What we are wearing today in the eyes of the Most High is sackcloths. These cloths we are wearing are garbage clothes. They're poor man's clothes, the clothes of the heathen. Now, let me show you in the last verse, Zephaniah chapter 1. Zephaniah chapter 1. And let's go to verse 8. Now, this is when the Most High come back. Look what he calls our clothes. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 8. And it shall come to pass in the day of the Most High sacrifice, judgment day, that I will punish the princes, all the governors, and the king's children, and all such as are clothed with what? Strange apparel. Those suits, Brooks Brothers suits, 3-piece suits, he's going to judge them. That's strange apparel. That's not what they wore in the kingdom. Drop down to verse 18. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Most High's wrath. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. And he's going to gather us from the four corners of the earth. All right, and so that's the end of this class. I spoke briefly about the confusion of faces, but I also went into patience and avoid distractions. So I hope this was a blessing to you and you understand the prophecies and the parables that we went over today. With that, I'm going to say Yahawashi HAMASHAYACH, we give him all praise.
This is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.
HaMashaYACH, Yahawashi, for allowing us to be gathered again together and for you to be the set the table for us to partake, eat some of these scriptures off of. And it was a good class. A couple comments. You spoke about a lot of confusions, and a lot of it came about by the curses, namely us getting scattered. And then we have these nations, and we mix with the other nations, and all of that eventually leads to the confusion of faces. Because, like, when the Bible normally talks about the face, it's kind of like symbolizing a person's identity and their honor and their standing. That's why a lot of, even to the day, you got to save face, man. You got to, because it's our standing and how we stand. And being the chosen people, that's a very high standing, It has a lot of honor, a lot of weight to it, by having that face. And so the confusion of faces is like a trip. It's like when you recognize that honor and the standing that we have, starting from Abraham, Isaac, and as you brought out Jacob, and then the 12 sons of Israel, it's like we find ourselves, and you brought a lot of scriptures that talked about it, the shame that we have. That's part of the confusion of faces. We have, the shame of being so honorable and having a good face by being God's chosen. Then we go against what He says. Now it's time for that shame, and it's done where all the other nations are. Man, you hit it when you was talking about it in the scriptures of going into these other nations' captivity, because then we're publicly humiliated. We're brought down so low to the slave class where we're slaves, where people spit on us, they kick us. That's confusion of faces. And that's why it's so hard, like now, for us to realize we're somebody, that we are actually, the people that are still asleep. And probably us before we were awakened, that it's hard to, we just settle with being that low, and that's just our lot. I guess we are the descendants of Ham. Right. I guess we're and we just lose our honor. We lose our reputation. And that's the confusion we see when we talk to people out there in the streets, or just family members. They have lost that. They don't see us as honorable. As they say, you just a little nigga, man. You ain't gonna, them white folks ain't gonna give you that, boy. Oh, listen, man, all this type of things as though we're nothing. So anyway, I ain't gonna just keep going on, but it was a great class, and I'm glad you brought it out in Daniel when it actually brought out the confusion of faith, and it's just a great class. All praise to the Most High. That's all I got, bro.